Okay, welcome back to lesson 3 on our coding. Hopefully you enjoyed doing your dance match last week, and you can enjoy what we're doing today. So in our, first of all, we're going to get rid of this cat. We're going to make a racing game today, a 2-player racing game. So we're going to destroy the cat and we're going to build some rockets on our sprites. You could use beetles, in fact, anything that has a top down. Sort of looking overhead and downwards would work well for this. But I'm going to choose the rocket, which is down here somewhere. These are in alphabetical order. You can always search for them. But rockets are here. I'm going to use this. Oh, that's good. He spins around as well. I quite like that. I might get him to do that in a bit as well by changing the costume. So I'm going to, first of all, shrink this rocket down to a much smaller size, probably 20. Yeah, that's a good size. And we're going to go to the backdrop and create our own backdrop today. So rather than clicking on just here, we're going to go to Paint. And I'm going to make a space theme. So let's have a black color. And I'm going to have to draw a box to make the whole thing black. But I want a path that my rocket is going to need to follow. So I'm going to use the paint color, and it's going to be nice and vibrant. So let's find something that is yellow. There it is. I'll turn the brightness up. Nice bright yellow. Sure that's bright enough, but it'll do. Perfect. And we're then going to change the thickness of the pen, because I could be here all week. So you can see that the size of the pen is getting a bit fatter. I'm going to go all the way up to 100 because I need this. What this is going to be is the path that the spaceship can go to. I think 100 is the most I can do. Yeah. So I'm going to then draw a path for my space rocket. I have to get through a bit of a turn to make it a bit trickier. Okay, great. And now if I drag my rocket into there, so the idea is going to be I've got to navigate around this course for the moment and just get my rocket round. So next we need to code our rocket so that it's going to move. Now rather than using up, down, left, right like we did last time, I want my rocket to be always going. And so when I ask the rocket to go, it's going to start moving, and all I have to do is turn it to get around the track. So we're going to start off with, this is going to happen straight away. So we're going to use the when green flag is ticked, and we want it to be always moving. So there's a new motion we've not looked at, which is this one, which is move 10 steps. Now, if I click on the green flag, he's not moving the direction I want, but he is moving every time I click. Okay, which is perfect. And we're going to also want it to keep doing it. So we're going to put it in a forever loop. So now when I click on it, he should, brilliant, he's gone over there. And if I drag him back over here, he's going to go again, and he'll keep going until I press the stop button. So he's not quite doing what I'm looking for him to do, because I really want him to be facing the way that I'm going. So first of all, we're going to change the direction. So now he starts going the way that we started in the first place. But I've noticed straight away I've got a bug, because he's now turned to the way that I didn't want him. So I'm going to have to go to costumes, and I think I'm going to have to select him and rotate it so that it's facing the way I want him to face, which is that way. Now let's see what happens now. Yes, it's now going the right way. Okay. So, as with all bugs, we test something and see if we've got it right. Now, I noticed it was going very fast, and there's no way I can drive this around the track, so I'm going to now use, that looks better. Okay, so we've got a good speed. I've slowed him down by changing the number of moves. We now need to use the left and right buttons on our keyboard to get us to move around. So if I press the right key and if I press the left key, what I want him to do is turn. So I'm going to turn right for the right key and left for the left key. So let's test those. There you go, he's starting to turn. So hopefully when he turns, so too will the rocket. So let's give that a go. Oh yes, so I can now use the buttons and I'm flying around the track. Brilliant. I've got a place to follow. Of course, we can work out how to make this a little bit quicker if we're getting better at it. There's only one problem with this at the moment. If I was racing against you and you were beating me, I would go and cheat by doing that and taking a sneaky shortcut. We want to be able to make sure that the black area is not possible to go over. So How are we going to do that? Well, all we're going to do is in here, we're going to say, right, you're moving forward, but we want you to stop moving if you touch the black part. And so this is called something called selection. So the computer needs to always be checking. So are you touching black? And if you're touching black, we want you to stop moving. So we're going to use this. And you'll notice there's an empty part here. Okay. And what we put in here is something from sensing. So in blue in sensing, and if you have a pause of the video now, you can probably find which one it is. It's a hexagon shape. It doesn't fit in there. It's longer than the one we're looking for. Have a quick look. Okay, so hopefully you found that there's two touching ones here. If you're touching the mouse pointer, but underneath, if you're touching the colour. Now that colour's not right, but I can drag this in and watch what happens. It goes white and it extends out, okay? So this is selection. So you're saying to the computer, move 3 steps, but if you're touching the colour, whatever that is, so let's change that colour. We're going to click on it and we're going to go over, we're going to use over here and touch. Can you see how it's up here? If you're touching the green, so black, then what we want you to do is stop moving. Now, the way we're going to get it to stop moving is by wiping out the movement we've got here. So if we're moving 3, to wipe it out, what will have to go in there? Okay, if you said you need to put in -3 because 3 take away 3 is nothing, then you'd be right. So let's start this again. It starts here, and you can see now that when he's touching the sides, oh, he's touching the sides, but he's got himself a bit stuck. And I think that's probably because, oh, there we go, we've got it. No, you see the back end of him is getting a little bit stuck in there, so we've got another bug, so we're going to have to fix that one. And the way we're going to fix that is a bit different, because sometimes we can work out where the middle of the actual sprite is, and I think what's probably happened, that target there is the middle of the sprite, and the problem isn't that part, it's the other bits, it's these bits are the problem. So I'm just going to delete those and get them out of the way, and I'm going to stick this towards the back a bit more. It shouldn't affect what my sprite does, but it should make it that it won't get caught now, because it's, that's it, it's spinning from the best. I'm getting almost good at this. Okay. Brilliant. So it's stopping when I ask it to. It's going at not too bad a speed. I could definitely get better at this. Okay. And this game at the moment is fun, but will get boring in about 1 more lap's time. So I wonder how we could improve this and make it more entertaining to play. And I think the first one for me is that I want to play against somebody else. So what we're going to do is something, again, like last week we learned about duplicating on the costumes, but you can duplicate a whole sprite. So I've gone and made a whole new rocket. I've now got 2 rockets, and if I play this again, you'll notice, oh, hang on, one's stuck. But you've probably spotted already that these rockets are doing exactly the same thing. They're being controlled by the same player. And it makes it very hard for me to, they're now exactly the same place. So that isn't what I want, because I want to make a 2-player game. So while one is going to be controlled with the arrows, I want the other one to be controlled with different letters. So I'm going to go onto the second one here, and I'm going to use maybe A and D. So A would be replacing the left arrow, and D would be replacing the right arrow. So now I'm not going to be able to play this game together, but there's A and D. Oh, is he going? So off goes A, and if I can just about manage it, I'll bring D behind me. So it's possible now, if there was 2 people in this room right now, I could play this game with a family member and have a bit of a race. That's suddenly got a much more exciting game. I'm sure you'd agree. But it does get a bit confusing who's who. So what could we do? Well, let's go to the costume. Let's use the fill tool, and let's change the costume to a different colour. So rather than that grey colour, let's have a nice bold yellow colour. And if I click on that, click away, click on there, I'm hoping it's going to let me change the colour, although it's been a little bit of a nuisance. Interesting. I wonder if I convert it to a bitmap, it'll work better. Well, I'm trying lots of different things here and it's not playing, so I might have to come up with a different strategy. I guess I could paint it a bit. Oh, no, I can't even do that. How interesting. I wonder why it's not letting me do that either. Oh, it says I've changed it. Look at the picture up here. Oh, and it's changed it over here too. That is confusing. It's not showing it there, but it has shown it there. And in fact, I've made a bit of a mess of it. That's curious. Restore sprite. No. Oh, I just restored the cat. Don't want the cat back. You can go away. We did say before as well that they can move, didn't we? But never mind. We'll leave that for the moment. Okay. Have a go at making that now, and then we'll look at some other ideas, and I'll show you some of the other ideas that we can do. Okay, so I've just worked on a new idea. I've created a new sprite, which is just a purple rectangle, and then we can put some code in to say to this that if you're touching the colour blue, fine, then move 3 steps. But we could also put in, if you're touching, so in control, if you are touching, and this time rather than the colour, touching the sprite, and this sprite is called sprite 1. So if you're touching sprite 1, then you can say, so in looks, we can have the word say, and put I win for 2 seconds, and then the game could stop. So we could then say, and then we also, in control, there's a stop all. So you'll say I win, and then the game will stop. And we can duplicate that code. Oops. We can duplicate this code by just dragging it to there, and it will pop into here. At least it should do. Is it there? Is it hiding somewhere? No. Let's try again. In there. There you go. There it is. And so, say to the other rocket, if you're touching, and you can say, now, let's just test that code, make sure it's working. I win! Excellent. And then the other one would do the same. Now, another thing we'd like to do is probably make it rotate like we talked about last week. So I noticed the costumes before. Oh, by the way, I had that problem. I just refreshed the page and it sorted the problem out, except it now needs to be green for all of them, doesn't it? So I'm going to just have to go to that, choose that colour, and then fill it in to that one, and that one, and that one, and then, and if I won't do it now, but I'll go through all the different colours, and all those clouds are going to be a problem again, I think. So I'm going to get rid of those. No, I'm not going to make them green. I'm going to get rid of them. So I'm going to click on it. Click on. Can I click on one when I get rid of all of it? I wonder. It's not like I can. Well, I can on that one. That's interesting. I can't on that one. I could just use the rubber tool. Should have done that really. Never mind. And then we can rotate that using the same code as last time. So we'll do it with this one, and then you can play with yours of doing it for both of them. So it's going to be in looks. I think I'm going to use next costume. There's a costume there that I'm not going to use. It's this. Well, that's the first one. I'm going to use this costume instead, aren't I? So let's get rid of that costume. And we're going to use that one, and that one. It should spin around. So it goes B, C, D, E. In fact, there's a code that says next costume here. I'm going to use that. But remember last week how we used it and it didn't do anything because it was too fast? So we're going to use control. I'm going to use that quarter second again, 0.25. And then we're going to do, it's going to go in from the start. Now, hopefully you're looking at this and going, Mr. Heat, you've done that wrong. And you can shout at the screen why. As I fix it, it needs to be in a forever loop. Now, hopefully this is now going to, yay. So he's turning around and he should carry on turning around even when I press the start button. Oh, look. He needs to be facing the right way at the beginning of the game, doesn't he? He's kind of going a bit lopsided. So I'm going to add another piece of code in, which is going to be telling it to face the right way at the beginning. So rather than go to a random position, it's going to be pointing direction. And what was that direction from before? It was direction 0. See the number here? 0. So I'm going to tell it to, at the beginning, pointing 0, and then I know I'm doing the right. It's going the right way. Aha! So it's pointing 0, but actually, he's not pointing 0 as I know it, because he's still spinning. So we've still got another bug. I wonder what would happen if we did that and told it to point. Oh, 0.270. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's still not doing what it should do. We're going to have to turn these all round, aren't we? It's a bit of a pain. So, before we made them all face right, didn't we? So it's just like before. Highlight it, spin it, but just make sure that, that blue spot, the blue cross, is in the right place to be facing the right way. Great. Same with this one. Highlight him, spin him, get rid of that flame. It's going to get in the way. Great. This one, get rid of the flame. Highlight it, spin him. This one, spin him. Give it a roll. Let's see if it's going to work. Ah, now he's still getting it stuck, but let's give that a go. That's interesting. He's facing the wrong way now when he starts. This is coding. Oh, because I told him. It's always because it's something I've told it to do. We're off. Oh, brilliant. Now, he sometimes seems to touch something and stop, and I don't know why he's stopping. Is it something to do with this? If he's touching this, black, if he touches sprite 1, he's not doing that. It's because this one's touching sprite 1, so it's making the game stop. There we go. So we've made it a bit better. Still needs a bit of work. Have a go, see what you can do.